Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. My name is Haley Ngo, and today's story is The Story of the Crow, interpreted by Venkarangada Piatissa, stories told by Stephen Hilliard. The Enlightened One told the story while he was at Jetaravana Monastery on a certain occasion when he was assisting his own relatives. Its present story appears in the Buddhasala Pitaka in the 10th book. While Buddha was living in Jetaramana, King Kosala wanted to give alms to the monks, but on that day there was not even a single monk in the monastery. The king thought, "I always give alms, but the monks do not have full confidence in me because I am not a relative of the Buddha. If I become a relative, the monks will be more confident and friendly to me." Therefore, he sent a message to the Sakya king requesting him to give a Sakya virgin princess as his queen. So the Sakya king, who was afraid of the king of the Kosala because he was mighty and powerful, thought, "It is good to give a girl to him, but if we ought not to give him a real Sakya girl, we will give him a half Sakya girl." Thinking so, he gave him the princess Vasabhakyatiya, who was the daughter of the Sakya Mahanama by a slave girl. After she had given birth to a son for him named Vidudaba, the king Kosala eventually came to understand what had happened. At that time, he cut off Vasabhakyatiya's and Vidudaba's royal allowances and treated them as he would slaves. Buddha interceded and convinced him to reinstate Vasabhakyatiya and Vidudabas to their noble status. Eventually, Vidudaba, after he had become king of Kosala, as a harbored resentment towards the Sakyas for their insult to his father, attacked the Sakyas at Kapalivitu. On their way 3 times, Buddha met him and persuaded him not to attack. On the 4th time, the Buddha understood that because of the Sakya's previous karma, he could not prevent the attack. At that time, Vidudaba destroyed all the Sakya families. This news spread even among the monks. They were discussing this news one day in the Dhamma hall, saying that the Buddha had not been able to prevent the killing of the Sakyas because of their karma. Even though he had tried to intercede 3 times, however, the Buddha turned back Vidudaba. Fully 3 times the Buddha tried to save his relatives from danger. Buddha is a helpful friend to his kin. Buddha entered and asked, "O monks, what were you talking about before I entered?" They said, "Bhante, we were talking about the helpfulness of yourself to your relatives, and the destruction of your relatives." Then the Buddha said, "Monks, not only this time, but even in my previous lives I have been helpful to my relatives, protecting them from danger." The monk said, "Please, Bhante, tell us the past story, as we understand the present." The Enlightenment One said, "At one time, King Brahmanasa was ruling in Benares. At a certain occasion, his Brahmin advisor was wandering in the street, and at that time there were 2 crows seated on an archway. The crow said to the other, 'I would like to make the droppings on this Brahmin.' And the other crow said, 'This Brahmin is a very powerful person. By doing so, you will make him angry. Then he will be angry with us. If he gets angry, there is no doubt that he will kill us all. Therefore, do not do it.' The first crow said, 'Right now I cannot stop from putting a dropping on him. Therefore, I will do it. Whatever may happen, so be it.' The second crow said, 'Do whatever you like. The results will come upon you. I am not responsible.' Saying this, he went away. When the Brahmin came to the archway, the crow put droppings on him. The Brahmin, seeing this, got very angry and kept this in his mind. At that time, a certain slave woman placed a bit of paddy grain on the ground in the sunshine. A shaggy goat came there and sat and started to eat the grain. The woman carrying a club hit him and chased him away. Several times, the goat came back each time she hit him and chased him away. The last time, the old woman thought, if this goat comes again to eat my grain, I may lose my profits. So, taking a wood branding iron in her hand and hiding in a nearby spot, when the goat came again, she hit him on his matted hair, which caught fire. The burning goat, thinking of putting out the fire, ran to the king's elephant stable where he saw a pile of hay. He rolled in the hay in order to try to put out the fire. Then the hay started to burn, and the whole elephant stable caught fire and also began to burn. The elephants that were tethered there also got burnt and wounded. The king's elephant physicians said that it would be difficult to treat the burnt and wounded elephants. The king summoned his Brahmin advisor and asked him how to best treat the elephants. Hearing this, the Brahmin advisor said, Your Lordship, if you can get some crow fat, then I know how to treat them. The king, hearing these words, ordered his subjects to kill the crows. In this order, all citizens who lived in the city started to kill thousands of crows and made a pile of crow carcasses. At this time, the alignment being was a king of a large group of 84,000 crows that lived near a certain cemetery. This king of crows heard the news. He thought, it is my responsibility to save lives of my relatives. No one else can do it. So he thinking of his fulfillment of the tenfold perfections and the spreading of his loving kindness upon all living beings, said to his subjects, I have heard that our relatives are being killed by the king. I am going to protect my relatives. Everyone will have to come with me if this determination of mine will save their lives in accord with truth. No harm will come to anyone. With such determination, he quickly went to the king's palace. Through an open window, he entered the king's palace and perched atop the king's throne. Then one of the king's security men saw the crow and came near to seize him. At this point, the crow said to the king, Your Lordship, it is good to do something just on the basis of a man's word without looking into the truth of it. It is a very bad thing to kill all crows. It is not a good example for a king to act from anger. A king must examine things before he does them. Hearing these words pleased the king. He entertained the alignment being by supplying to his feathers medicinal oil compared with hundreds of medicines, which made the alignment being very strong, and by feeding the alignment being food prepared for himself, the king laid out for the alignment being a golden cloth on which to sit, and asked him, Why is it that crows have no fat? I have thousands of crows killed and yet have obtained no crow fat. The alignment being started to talk, his voice resonating through the whole palace building. Your Lordship, when a crow sees a human being, even a little child, he is afraid of him and flies away since he is always threatened by humans. Because of this, there is no fat in the body of a crow, since he is living with fear, be it in the present, the past, or the future. Your Brahmin advisor wanted to destroy the entire community of crows as he was angry with us, and he explained the story to the king. The king became very sad and pacified towards all crows. The king was very pleased with the alignment being and said, I would like to offer you my kingdom as a gift. Please accept it. The alignment being said, Your Lordship, what is the advantage to me having a kingdom? Be kind enough just to let my relatives live freely in your kingdom. The king, who was pleased with the words of the crow, gave freedom to his kingdom to all living beings. He especially advised his subjects not to kill any crows, and further, every day he laid out for the crows 6 bushels of variously delicately flavored cooked rice. In this way, the king did very many murderous deeds, and he eventually died according to the result of his previous deeds. The king of Benares at that time was the venerable Ananda, and who I am now, the Buddha, was the king of crows. Saying so, the Buddha disclosed the Jataka story of crows. The moral is anger and vengeance cause fear and unhappiness. Loving kindness and compassion bring fearlessness and peace. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha. Namo Fundamental Teacher Shakyamuni Buddha.